Hi Nancy, I hope you're well. I just finished watching your video about touch, and it brought up quite a few things for me really, because me and my family members, me and my mum and sister, we don't really touch each other very often, and it makes me feel quite uncomfortable when we do touch each other. And I always thought that it was because my mum didn't want me to touch her. But recently we were out with her friends and we got drunk, and it came out that actually she really wanted me to touch her, and she always thought that I didn't want to be touched. And it's funny how these barriers with your family can build up, but that wasn't the point of this video. I understand that you're a mental health nurse, and I was on the other end of the spectrum. I was an inpatient in a mental health unit for a while, and you really reminded me of this one woman, and we were having a one-on-one conversation. I think it was an unofficial conversation. She saw that I felt upset, and she took me into a room somewhere and tried to reach out to me, and we were having this conversation about how I wasn't really comfortable being hugged by people, and that it must be really hard for me to go through life without any physical contact like that. And then she asked me when was the last time I allowed myself to be held. And I'd been in the mental health system as an inpatient for 3 or 4 months at that point, and I mean, if you've never been an inpatient for that amount of time, you'll have no concept of how isolated you are, being treated like someone that's potentially dangerous all the time, and largely without compassion. And she looked at me and she kind of cocked her head to one side in this kind of caring gesture, and then she just had this kind of rush of empathy for me, and she told me, God, I'm so sorry that you've had to go through this at such a young age. And then she said, will you let me hug you, and will you just let yourself be hugged? And I said no, and she hugged me anyway, and at first I felt kind of tense and resisted, and then I let myself go, and I felt like she was my mother. I felt like that close to her, like she was this mothering, nurturing spirit, and it meant so much to me when no one had touched me in so long, and when I was just the crazy girl in the corner, that someone would take a risk like that. Even, these nurses, they used to carry emergency alarms at all times and things, so I was constantly aware of being thought of as a danger, to myself and others, as they say. To be held like that, to feel nurtured like that. It undid 4 months of therapy, constant talking therapies, 5 groups a day, just seemed meaningless in comparison to this hug. Something else that I remember about physical contact is there was a rule in mental units that you weren't ever allowed to touch each other, and that was really, really hard for me to not be able to, and I think I did anyway at first, and there was this other girl that I felt was a real kind of kindred spirit, and we would comfort each other, use comforting gestures and things, and we were accused of being homosexual. And to be fair, she did fall in love with me, and I am bisexual, but it wasn't a sexual thing. It was this necessity for a comforting presence. You spend all your time sitting across the desk from a psychiatrist who maintains a professional attitude at all times. That person will never share your pain, that person will never cry for you, and if they do, you'll never know about it, because they have to be professional. And I just wanted to commend you, really thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a member of the mental health professional teams and touching people. And it's something that either people don't do out of a kind of fear of sexual harassment or physical harassment charges, or out of a fear of the patient themselves and the mental health problems. And I just want to say thank you so much, because that means so much to you as a patient when you're in that scenario. And even today I'm feeling pretty blue recently, nothing like I used to. but I'm feeling pretty blue recently, and I realised that, you know, me and my ex, we split up in February, and it's been since then since I've had any, you know, lasting physical contact. And I feel like if I just had someone here to hold me, it would be okay. You know, physical contact is physical comfort. Human contact is so underrated, and I want to commend your video and direct my subscribers hopefully to it. And hello, by the way, to the 150 new subscribers that showed up since I last made a video. Welcome to my channel. Yeah, I'm pretty blue at the moment, so I don't have much to say, and I'm taking a lot of shit on all of my videos, and it just, you know, when I wake up in the morning to those type of comments, that kind of abuse, it doesn't make me want to make more videos. And I'm starting to think maybe I won't try and make any social, political arguments, and maybe I'll just express myself as a person, because I don't fear what you have to say about me as a person, but I do fear recognising that the world is this fucked up place, and there are only about 3 people in 800 that are actually able to see my point of view. Anyway, Nancy, I love you, man, seriously. I feel a connection to you. Since you made me that video in response to my depression video, I mean, you mean a lot to me. And there might be something Freudian going on here with, you know, repression of past feelings towards mental health professionals, this woman that hugged me or something, or, you know, it might be something to do with my past, but I also want to know that I see you as a person, and I see that you suffer for these people, that you feel so strongly about their suffering that you yourself suffer, and I want to thank you for being such a rare person that's willing to care. Really, you're one of my favourite YouTubers. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much. I hope you're having a good one.